Alright, anyway. Good morning again, everyone. It's Wednesday here in Sydney, Australia. About to start my workout, usual Wednesday. Bit more equipment today because I just feel like it. Got the trap bar, so we're going to do some deadlifts with that. Got the ab wheel, got the ab wheels later. Got the rings as well because I want to do some. What would they called? I guess like horizontal rows. You'll see it later. And then the chin up bars up there as well, so do some pull ups. So pull ups first, then with the trap bar, then I'll switch over to the ab wheel and then the rings. Chad is here as well, just to make sure that I'm keeping in good form. Well, he just goes, and you'll probably see the curtain move soon because he likes to check out the outside well. Anyway, as usual, I've got my sound on as well because I'm listening to stuff in the background. I haven't been DMCA'd so far, which is pretty awesome. Maybe I've found some hack in my OBS. I've got no idea. I'll find out later. But really, I don't really care too much, I guess, because Twitch just deletes my videos after 2 weeks anyway. So, what does it matter? I guess it just depends on if YouTube does it. Again, we'll wait and see. A little bit of a self-experiment. But anyway, yeah. Enjoy it. Ask questions. Whatever. The usual. I like to listen to news and whatnot, I guess, in the background. News.
Let's just jump into it. So the first thing that we're going to talk about today are these massive updates regarding the dumpster fire of a human being that is Andrew Tate.
I know about fucking rapist. I like the idea of being able to just say to do what I want. I like being free.
We talked about him last Monday. His content has blown up on social media over the summer. Seemingly, the algorithm's pushing this heavily towards teen boys and young men. With this content ranging from generic motivational bullshit to just endless misogyny, which is also part of the reason so many of his supporters say, I don't agree with all the things he says, but, well, that's a pretty big but when the other things are women being a man's property, saying rape victims should bear some responsibility of the assaults against them, and more disturbing shit. But with Tate and his insane popularity, one of the questions that we talked about was, what do you do to rein it in? And with that, a lot of people had a lot of different ideas, though it kind of boiled down to the main three. 1, just ignore it. 2, debate and debunk it. Or 3, deplatform. Well, people were arguing their various points. We saw over the weekend Meta banning Tate from both Instagram and Facebook. Well, the company did not specify exactly what prompted the ban. It did say that it was over violations of its policies regarding dangerous organizations and individuals. That was pretty massive because Tate had around 4.7 million followers on Instagram at the time. But that kind of just kicked things off because then on Saturday there were reports that his Hustlers University venture shut down, which was his program where some referred to it as Scheme, where members paid a monthly fee and then earned commissions from signing up new members, with many calling it MLM pyramid scheme bullshit, but also part of the reason for his sudden surge on social media. Now with this, according to The Guardian, Hustlers University posted in an online forum that followers should not be worried about this and that an exciting new update is coming. But for now, the closure of this could be a massive loss of revenue for Tate. Though I will say it wouldn't surprise me that if he does launch something or bring it back, that he's gonna make even more money from it. But then the final, at least for now, punch to the gut for Tate was him getting banned on TikTok on Saturday, with TikTok telling NPR that the ban is permanent and explaining misogyny is a hateful ideology that is not tolerated on TikTok. It's adding our investigation into this content is ongoing as we continue to remove violative accounts and videos and pursue measures to strengthen our enforcement, including our detection models against this type of content. But also, of course, with this, you had tons of reports looking at it and noting, hey, it wasn't actually the content posted by Tate that was really the issue. It was the videos from his supporters who simply reposted old comments that Tate had previously made that were blowing up, and getting around a reported 12.7 billion views on the platform. Though, regarding that TikTok statement there suggests some of the content is set to take a hit, with The Guardian even noting that some of those accounts have actually been banned, and many TikTok users claim that they're starting to see less and less Tate. Also, with this, while the general public is reacting, we've seen a number of creators reacting, like, hey,
Different variations of pull-ups and whatnot. I tend to do pull-ups, so wider grips, compared to chin-ups, which is a bit more closed, a bit more biceps. Another way that I help to train my grip strength is I don't hold the bar with a full closed grip. I use just these parts of my fingers, only the finger parts, and that's it. That essentially helps my grip strength for my manual therapy. I do as much as I can until I get too tired. So once my fingers sort of start to, give up on me, then I'll start using full grips. So I'll start with the top parts of my fingers first, sort of learned it from like a rock climbing video. I think it's been helpful. That's on top to what I do on the weekends.
SI saying, thank God he got banned. And then others like Hassan Piker feeling that this was just an attempt to save face on behalf of these social media companies. Writing, Andrew Tate obviously didn't invent misogyny, but had no issue becoming its online face as he skyrocketed to fame over the last few months. Of course, social media platforms were going to use him as an example to act like they're doing something, even though they directly contribute to the problem. Others also having a similar take, saying, yes, it's a good thing to ban him, but writing Andrew Tate as a symptom, not a cause of the bigger issue, which is that young boys are not being taught to process their emotions in a healthy way. Writing that this crisis is part of the same unhealthy masculinity that fueled Andrew Tate's fame, and until we're ready to take that crisis seriously, people like Andrew Tate will keep popping up. But also, regardless of the bigger issue, you had people like Ethan Klein saying this is a step in the right direction.
Little people being like, are you really in favor of deplatforming? He should be jailed. Deplatforming. I want to deplatform his life.
With Daz Black, who had a super viral video about Tate last week, some actually crediting him for everything that we're seeing now, responding to this news and seemingly happy about it, and saying that yes, his video did result in some hate from hardcore Tate stans, but that the vast majority of responses were from people who are now celebrating Tate's ban, with Daz saying,
who wants a mass misogynist on the internet, screaming left, right and centre, abusive? Who wants it? Let this be a message to anyone out there that wants to read and stream hatred and oppression.
Now, with all that said, I personally think that unless something else changes, the unfortunate or disturbing truth for people that want to see Tate deplatformed or banned or just not constantly promoted to young, impressionable men, is that this is all probably going to make him even more successful. And that's not me saying what should or should not be done by these platforms, but it looks like the reality of the situation. Yes, Hustlers University is shut down, but it looks very much like he's priming it for a 3.0 launch.
I prefer my deadlifts with the trap bar because, well, one, it's easy to use. Two, squat rack, yeah. Sorry, not squat rack. I pretty much avoid having to clear it through my knees and whatnot, I guess. Not that hard, but honestly, overall, trap bar is just easier. I think the only issue with this is that I don't get it has a deep of enough range of motion, but, you know, what do you do? In saying that as well, I think it's just better form, that's all. You don't need too much to work out your back. Your back's pretty much working non-stop until you're lying down. Like standing, sitting, walking, moving, always using your back. It's always engaged. It's one of those passive muscles, like, they're not constantly shortening or lengthening, they're just constantly in tension, just to hold your spine up. So it doesn't take too much to work out your back. A little bit here and there. A lot of my patients that come in with lower back problems, they have like, tends to be from deadlifts and that. Cheers, Senzu Leafy TV. Thanks for the follow. How are you going today? Cheers, thank you very much. That's my timer, that's my rest timer. I'm good, thank you. I've just started out my workout, just finished my first set. Do you work out yourself? You're going to be listening to news in the background, by the way.
Also, with his supporters seeing him as a victim, they're more likely to give him their money. And as long as you have other massive influencers like Aiden Ross who will continue to platform him because it's great for their views, he's not going away. But ultimately, that's where we are with this Andrew Tate situation for now. And of course, I want to pass the question up to you. What are your thoughts on these huge updates and the continued fallout that we're seeing? Also, you should know that Big Bird is getting canceled. It's in the process of getting deplatformed. This isn't happening because some podcast clip went viral of Big Bird defending Harvey Weinstein, but they knew what they were getting into. Nor did it come out that he did Justin Trudeau's makeup for Halloween, but rather because HBO Max right now is removing tons of content, including original programming from its app, with this apparently due to the upcoming merger that it has with Discovery Plus. And so, of course, I think
I was explaining before about deadlifts that some of my patients that come in from the gym, from doing deadlifts with a bar, tends to be that nothing wrong with the bar. It's just that most people's issues are when they get to the top, they should just stop about there. But some people think they're getting a much more of a workout if they extend their back a bit more, which tends to compromise your spine and especially your lower back. So the advice that I give all those patients is get to the top, leave it at that, and go back down.
people asking, why would you do this? And according to places like CNBC, this could actually be a cost-cutting measure because they don't have to pay residuals. And a lot of the stuff that's getting cut is children's content, so it could be part of a brand shift that focuses less on children's programming. And online, we've seen so much backlash, people speaking out against the removal of around 200 episodes of Sesame Street, as well as dozens of other shows being removed. Within the moment, seeming like a disaster, some asking, is this the end of HBO Max? But that might not be the case, because it appears that HBO Max got a massive win over the weekend. Enter the Game of Thrones spinoff House of the Dragon. Now, there has been skepticism that Game of Thrones doesn't guarantee a win, but it's a gamble that you have new characters, so many...
Cheers, Sleepy. How are you going today? Sorry, you have to listen to my laboured breathing.
Fans feeling pissed off about the last season of the main show. But while really no one's calling it a masterpiece yet, it appears at the very least they have people's interest. It debuted last night, and the demand was so high that HBO Max actually crashed for a ton of people. With HBO saying these outages were linked to people watching on Amazon devices, but the show was successfully viewed by millions of HBO Max subscribers last night. And so yeah, while that crash took over Twitter, the company claims that far more viewers watched it without issue than with. And while anecdotal, if you want to see some evidence of people just being excited to watch this as fast as possible, there's this TikTok where you can see through an entire apartment building's windows, and pretty much everyone is watching the show in unison. Which, I mean, that alone is kind of amazing, because we really don't see that these days. I'm personally going to catch the first episode, see if maybe that's something that you would be interested in. Some of my favorite live viewing experiences, obviously, yes, Game of Thrones, but of course Breaking Bad. And luckily, not only is there interest, it's looking pretty good on Rotten Tomatoes too. But also, if you watch the series, what are your thoughts on it so far? I'm going to watch it right after I finish filming this. But from that, I want to take a second to thank fantastic sponsor of today's show, Keeps. 2 out of 3 guys will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time...
Yeah, you continue with before. Yeah, you don't need to do too much for your back. When it comes to working out and whatnot, I try to tell my patients, look, if you're competing, fair enough, you got to take some risk. Just shut up. If it's just lifestyle, I guess when we're younger and whatnot, we're all trying to beat our personal best, trying to lift as hard as we can. Fair enough, good development, just make sure you do good form and whatnot, proper rest, nutrition and that. But, because you're younger, it's a lot easier to recover. Tends to be that way, unless you've got an underlying condition. But once you get to a certain age where repairing gets a bit more harder and longer, especially when you're working in that, people can't afford those injuries because you need to work. So I just say, look, just build it up gradually. Find what's best for you. You don't need to take the risk, just make sure it's progressive overload. Simple, tiny overload. Baby steps just to get there. Oh. Drums of cheddar. Yes. Little line dancing drums. That's the only beat that I know from line dancing. And I don't really command cheddar. Just does what he wants. As long as he gets fed, loved, and I clean his poop.
Time to 35. It's not uncommon. Maybe you have that friend or that family member that's dealing with hair loss, and you don't have to just wait around for that to happen to you. Whether you're looking to prevent hair loss, stimulate hair growth, or just take better care of the hair that you have, Keeps has you covered. Keeps helps you stop hair loss before it's too late with a scientific and affordable approach to treatments that are up to 90% effective at reducing and stopping further hair loss. And in addition to clinically proven treatments, Keeps has an award-winning all-natural thickening shampoo and conditioner system. And you can get these products delivered directly to your door. That means no more going in person to the doctor's office for your prescription, saving you both valuable time and money. So if you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/Franco, or just click that link in the description to receive 50% off your first order. School is back in session this week, and more fucked than ever. We've been talking about challenges that educators are facing, where you have teacher shortages, there's also low pay, COVID, burnout, the mental health crisis. And so instead of just plowing ahead despite all the crippling issues, some teachers are flat out refusing to work until they're addressed. With some of those leading the charge here being the teachers union in Ohio's largest school district, known as Columbus Education Association, or CEA, representing more than 4,000 teachers, librarians, nurses, and other employees. And they've been slogging through a series of grueling contract negotiations with the Columbus Board of Education for weeks now, but no agreement has been made. made yet. With a 12-hour session going nowhere last week, and the union saying that it was prepared to continue negotiating, but instead the board laid out its final offer, which unfortunately the union says does not address its concerns with those primarily surrounding heating, AC, air quality in schools, class sizes, building conditions, teacher pay, and the availability of art, music, and PE classes. So on Sunday, we saw the union hold a vote among its members on whether to go on strike, and an overwhelming 94% said yes, with teachers walking on picket lines at 20 schools across the city today, including Columbus Downtown High School, where union spokesperson Regina Fuentes spoke to reporters.
In just the last few hours, parents have delivered coffee and water to the picket lines. Students have visited to say hello and offer hugs. Thank you. Over 300 community members have stood shoulder to shoulder with us as we began this first day of our strike.
Fuentes going on to say they never stopped reaching out to the board to try to reopen talks, but that they just haven't heard back, and adding that they want to get back in the classroom as soon as possible, but they're doing this for the students.
We truly are making this sacrifice because we want the schools that Columbus students deserve.
And that last part, I think, is an important thing to look at, because one of the biggest pushbacks whenever teachers go on strike is, oh, what about the kids? You don't care about the kids. But to that, I would say, if your teachers are set up for failure, what do you think your kids are set up for? But with all this, as far as what happens next, teachers will be gathering outside the schools every weekday from 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. until a deal is reached. You also have the school board having an emergency meeting today, but already deciding to move forward with plan to begin school on Wednesday. Doing this by bringing in full-time substitutes and administrators and teachers shifting to remote learning, though the union argues they can't effectively substitute a quality education. But for now, is looking at this standoff between the teachers and the board with some 47,000 students caught in the crossfire is an extra shitty start to the year,
That's right.
and we don't know when it's going to end.
Using
So with this, I want to hear from all of you in the
I'm using
education
socks
system,
rather than
whether you're a
gloves.
student, you're a teacher, you're a parent, an administrator,
a
or
bit
whatever.
lazy.
What are your thoughts with this?
Saying why not?
Then there's
Plus my
this
gloves are pretty
viral
old.
police beating video that's
Also, I don't
so
want calluses.
fucking gnarly. I don't think I can actually
I
show
don't want
it
my
in this
patients to
video,
feel
but I
these
want to
calluses
talk about
rubbing
it.
on their
Unfortunately,
back.
that's just the way the YouTube policy is. I don't want this video to get suppressed. So if you want to see the actual video, you just have to search police Mulberry, Arkansas, because that is where this beating and arrest happened yesterday. And if you haven't already seen it, it's a 34-second video taken by a bystander. It shows 3 officers holding a man to the ground of a parking lot. There are 3 officers on top of this man. One officer is repeatedly punching this man in the head, then grabbing his head and slamming it into the concrete several times. A second officer continually knees and kicks the man in the legs and back, while a third holds him down. And that clip absolutely blew up online, of course, resulting in the reactions that you've come to expect with stories like this. Since going viral, we've got more information about it. State police have now identified the man as 27-year-old Randall Worcester of Goose Creek, South Carolina, with the jail booking information reportedly indicating that Worcester is white, and outlets noting that the 3 officers involved also appear to be white. As far as what happened in the lead-up to this video, you had a local news station reporting that Crawford County Sheriff Jimmy DeMonte said the police have been called about a man making terroristic threats to a convenience store employee, also claiming that Worcester spit on the employee and threatened to cut off their face. The sheriff then saying that Worcester rode a bike to another location where he was met by 2 Crawford County deputies and 1 Mulberry police officer, saying the interaction between the 4 men started out as calm and Worcester actually handed them a pocket knife, but then he allegedly began attacking one of the deputies, pushing him to the ground and punching him in the back of the head, which the sheriff claimed is what led to what was seen in the video. And according to the state police, after this, Worcester was sent to the hospital before being released into the custody of a county jail, where he currently faces charges of second-degree battery, resisting arrest, refusal to submit, processing an instrument of crime, criminal trespass, criminal mischief, terroristic, threatening, and second-degree assault. So it also being reported that Worcester has a prior battery on a police officer charge in Oklahoma from 2021. Now, all that said, as far as the officers in that video, in a Facebook post just this morning, the Crawford County Sheriff's Office identified them as Deputy Zach King.
If you guys have read the About Me, I am allergic to cats and dogs.
Also, yesterday, after footage
Like
started
to be
gaining a lot
unfair.
of traction and backlash from social media, we saw
Shit, it's been here long enough, I need to now take an antihistamine.
on Facebook, Sheriff DeMonte said that he requested that the Arkansas State Police conduct an investigation, and saying that the deputies have been suspended pending the outcome of the investigation. Mulberry Police Department also issuing a separate statement saying that the officer involved in this incident has been put on administrative leave pending an investigation by state police. As far as what happens next, you have the Arkansas State Police confirming last night that they have now opened a use of force investigation into the officers and will submit their findings to the Crawford County prosecutor. But for now, that's where we are. Of course, we'll have to see what comes from the investigation. But of course, the court of public opinion always open. And so with everything that we're seeing, all the claims that are being made, I want to ask a question off to you. What are your thoughts with this? But ultimately, that is where that story in today's show ends. As always, thank you for watching and subscribing to my daily dives into the news. If you're looking for more, I got you covered right here or in the description down below. But as always, my name is Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love you.
For those of you joining in, yes, I listen to stuff in the background.
Bye.
I get a good 5 minutes with cheddar before my allergies kick in, so hopefully my antihistamine gets to me soon enough before that happens.
Why did my wife send me this video?
Philip DeFranco for my
It's
news.
a straw now. It's a hot dog.
Isaac
It's
Butterfield
what
for some
are you
Aussie
doing?
news.
The caption is life sentence, no parole. Exactly. But is it just ridiculous and disgusting, or is this man a secret genius? There's only one way to find out. This is not how I expected my morning to go. Yeah, you blur that can. No one's getting free promo. This is a mistake. Yeah, apparently this is the only straw that I have in my even making the hole feels wrong. Jesus Christ. I've been doing news 15 years on YouTube, but the moment I do this, I'm the hot dog straw guy. Wait, no, I hate everything. You know what? This guy made it seem way too easy. I hate this so much. Can't get it. Everything's so greasy. How the fuck did this man's a How? I think I need a bigger straw. I'm gonna take my fucking hot dog surgery this morning. Like, I'm too far fucking invested. I'm not finished this bit. It doesn't fucking work. I'm pissed. This feels wrong. Feels like it's a crime. I'll be back.
A few moments later.
I got it to work, but how does this look where it's censored than not censored? Oh my God, no!
Coach Cheddar making sure I'm keeping the
That man
form.
is not onto something. That man is a psychopath. I was like, maybe the meatiness that he'll have like a Michelada type flick. No. And I'm scared to even ask what this man went through in his life where he was like, I'm gonna use a hot dog as a straw just to feel something. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. I want to throw the whole day away now. Anyway, welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show. Buckle up. Make sure you're subscribed because I'm spending $10,000 across 10 lucky subscribers this month. And let's just jump into it and forget what just happened, please.
I recently saw a video about two doctors having a discussion. What are some... Sorry to laboured breathing once again. What are some parameters to know that you're at a healthy, how do I say, physique? And one of their measures were be able to stand in a squat, lowered squat, for about 2 minutes. Dead hang on the bar for about 2 minutes. And I'm like, I like to think I'm relatively fit, but I'm like, that's a bit ridiculous. Like, that's a lot tougher than what people think. I don't know if he meant for as an elite level of physiqueness, I guess. That's not even a word, but anyway. Yeah. You know, go through the comment section, few critiques here and there, and yeah, you know, see a lot of people like, oh man, like, and the guy was saying this was for a 40-year-old. I was like, geez. Of course, you get a lot of 40-year-olds in there typing, they're a bit scared of those numbers, and I'm like, yeah, look, I'm 32, and I've been working out for at least over 15 years now, and I'm thinking, yeah, that's, I don't even know, like, I'd have to give it a good try. I like to think I can do it, but I'd be really tired by the end of those. Trying to do that test. So I was just checking on my cat, making sure he's not doing anything that he's not supposed to be doing. But, yeah. Huh. You know, just one person's opinion. They're only a doctor, so whatever, but maybe in their circle of friends,
And then, do y'all remember when Kim Kardashian got robbed at gunpoint in Paris? Like, she's in her hotel room with a bunch of masked men break in, they duct tape her eyes and mouth shut, they steal $10 million worth of jewelry. Kim saying she was pleading for her life, that she's still traumatized to this day. And the big news today is that one of the men that was a part of this robbery was caught, served time, is now out. He was interviewed and he apologized to Kim Kardashian. I'm lying. Not only did he not do that, he came at this interview with the energy of, and I do it again, saying not only did he not feel guilty, but he actually blamed blamed her, saying he had no doubt that Kardashian would be traumatized by this, but, quote, they should be a little less showy toward people who can't afford it. For some people, it's provocative, saying, I saw one of her shows where she threw her diamond in the pool.
My diamond earring came off in the ocean and it's gone. And there's people that are dying.
She's got a lot of money. This lady doesn't care at all. And adding, since she was throwing money away, I was there to collect it, and that was that. Guilty? No, I don't care. I don't care. But honestly, one of the most interesting things about this story has been the public reaction to it. You have some saying, no, fuck this guy and the 11 other guys that are trying to blame the victim here for their actions. Meanwhile, you got a bunch of people from the Eat the Rich crowd that are loving it. And then you got all these other people that are kind of like conflicted and torn. I saw someone leave a comment, we say Eat the Rich, and people get sad when she was robbed, laughing my ass off. But now, with all of that said, I do want to pass the question off to you. Where do you land on this? Like, for me personally, especially growing up without money like I did, like, I understand the anger at the uber wealthy, especially those who flaunt it, but, like, cheering on someone being tied up and held at gunpoint and not knowing, you know, what's going to happen to me, am I going to live or die, or something worse, that's a bridge too far. Also, how is this dude already out of jail and doing interviews? From that, I want to thank the fantastic sponsor of today's show, Bloodline Heroes of Lithas. This visually stunning hero collector fantasy RPG is all about merging bloodlines, uniting generations, and building your legacy. As the High Guardian, take control of the City of Light and journey through the world of Lithas to restore peace and order. The world is filled with fantasy races of every kind, and how you relate to them will ultimately determine the future of your kingdom. Develop the family tree to create powerful offspring, like a hybrid heir of Dragonborn and Demigod, or become a Lycan, the werewolf clan of Assassins, or use my link to unlock for free the clan of Karg who transform into dragons. Level up to unlock more free companions. Explore territories, build alliances, and customize champions by marrying different bloodlines to find a unique combination of 5 powerful abilities out of dozens that best suit your gameplay. The possibilities are truly endless. So scan the QR code on screen or use the link and code in the description to get a special starter pack with $20, 100
I'm so
gold,
lazy.
100 diamonds, and 20 intimacy packs. And the first 100 players who use my code Philip in-game will get a random epic champion
I
with
normally-
$50 for free.
I should be
Available
trying
only
to
for
do
the next
20
30
reps per
days.
set,
And
but-
then, let's talk about Donald Trump now filing a lawsuit seeking to block the FBI from further reviewing the documents
lazy.
seized during the Mar-a-Lago raid, saying that he wants us until a so-called special master is appointed to oversee the process. Right, that being someone that's appointed to criminal cases where there's a concern that materials taken by the authorities shouldn't be seen by investigators because they contain privileged information. Now, notably here, Trump's own attorneys even said themselves that a prosecutor informed them that the DOJ has a special filter team that is reviewing the documents seized to pull out any privileged materials, but they're still arguing that that safeguard isn't enough, pushing the same narrative that they had this entire time, that this whole raid was politically motivated, with the lawyers writing in the suit. This matter has captured the attention of the American public. Merely adequate safeguards are not acceptable when the matter at hand involves not only the constitutional rights of President Trump, but also the preservation of executive privilege. And notably, in addition to asking for the special master, Trump's suit also requested a judge order the DOJ to give him a more detailed report of the inventory they seized at Mar-a-Lago, as well as asking the department to return any items they took that weren't in the scope of the search warrant. And going on to claim that there was no reason for the FBI to do all of this because he was cooperating with the federal authorities who were trying to retrieve the documents that he was keeping at his home. An argument that Trump himself echoed in a statement yesterday where he also claimed that the search and seizure was illegal and unconstitutional. And adding, we are taking all actions necessary to get the documents back, which we would have given to them without the necessity of the despicable raid on my home, so that I can give them to the National Archives until they are required for the future Donald J. Trump Presidential Library and Museum. Now, with all that, there appear to be several major flaws with this claim. First of all, the we would have given it to you if you just said please argument doesn't really have legs, because we know for a fact, unless you're closing your eyes and your ears because you don't want to know the truth, the materials he took stayed at Mar-a-Lago for months, even though investigators were seeking their full return. And secondly, we're talking about materials that he kept that were highly classified and seized as part of an investigation into potential violations of the Espionage Act. So you're not talking about the kind of documents that you put in the presidential library. Also, if he was intending to give the documents to the National Archives until they could be put in the presidential library, it makes literally no sense why you would take them in the first place. Federal law literally mandates once a president's term ends, all official material remains under government jurisdiction and has to be provided to the archives. So they were literally supposed to have those materials anyway before he took them. And in fact, the archives spent a good chunk of 2021 trying to get those documents back, with the agency even confirming that it had retrieved 15 boxes of White House records at Mar-a-Lago in January. And very significantly here, just yesterday, multiple people briefed on the matter told the New York Times that those initial 15 boxes contained more than 150 documents marked as classified. And it was this sheer number of classified documents they recovered that prompted concern from the DOJ and ultimately helped launch the criminal investigation and raid to collect the remaining boxes. Well, currently, the nature of those classified classified materials is unclear. One source told the New York Times that they included documents from the CIA,
He doesn't listen to me.
NSA,
Hold on,
and
hold on.
FBI, with multiple people saying that Trump himself went through the boxes in late 2021 before turning them over. And
like,
Toledo
"You're not
advisors
my mom."
familiar with Trump's comments said that when the archives requested he return the documents, he refused and referred to the boxes as mine. But even with all of that, this isn't where it ends. Sources also said that the DOJ issued a subpoena for Trump to return any remaining classified material. When they went to Mar-a-Lago to retrieve those materials in June, Trump's lawyers gave them some of the classified documents and signed a statement asserting that, to the best of their knowledge, that was the last of it. But of course, we now know that other classified materials were discovered when the FBI executed a search warrant on his estate earlier this month, with the Times noting that the investigation is still ongoing, suggesting that officials are not certain whether they have recovered all the presidential records that Mr. Trump took. Right, and this is still a developing situation. I mean, just as I was recording today, the National Archives released a letter written in May by the acting archivist that seemingly confirms at least part of the Times' reporting. Specifically, that the 15 boxes taken in January contained over 100 documents with classified markings comprising more than 700 pages. So this including documents related to special access programs, which are some of the most closely held government secrets. And notably, the letter also underscored the archives' efforts to get these documents, with the archivist writing that the agency had ongoing communications with Trump's representatives throughout 2021 about what appeared to be missing presidential records. And what's more, it also showed that once the archives finally got the 15 boxes, Trump and his team still tried to block the FBI from reviewing them, though that request was ultimately shot down. So seemingly there are tons of lies, tons of sketchiness, and what's fucking wild is that this seems to be working in Trump's favor, with recent polling showing that the FBI rate has spiked Trump's favorability among Republicans, and even increasing the number of downloads of Trump's Truth Social. So you know, everything's fucking stupid, as per usual. And then, let's talk about the crazy Elon Musk Twitter saga.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Why don't you? Now having a whistleblower element. So the man at the center of the story is Peter Zatko, better known in hacking and cybersecurity circles by his nickname Mud. Growing up in the Northeast almost 5 decades ago, he dove into the world of computers at an early age, eventually spending his days at a computer lab with MIT hackers in college, then moving on to work for a firm helping to build the early internet, but his career really began in 1996, because that is when he joined an underground hacker collective known as Loft. It's often called the first of its kind in the US. But also, when I say hackers, it's not like bad. They actually got a lot of praise for providing early warnings about security flaws in programs. So, by making flaws public, they left companies vulnerable to attack. So Microsoft's like, hey, why don't you actually just give us advance notice so we can patch issues before you publish them? Which is actually how they originally developed a model for coordinated disclosure used by most researchers today. But all of that is to say, that's why people say Mudge is credible. He testified to Congress in 1988, he's advised big banks and software companies, he's even worked for DARPA, then going on to join another group that coined the term hacktivism, using hacking to promote human rights by increasing transparency and fighting surveillance. Right, so we have all of that background, and then we jump to the summer of 2020. Twitter gets humiliated by a 17-year-old American kid who hacks the accounts of numerous celebrities, including Kim Kardashian, Kanye West, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and Barack Obama. So the company's CEO at the time, Jack Dorsey, understandably wants to tighten up security, with him eventually finding Mudge, with a source telling the Washington Post, Jack loves hackers and Mudge is a hacker legend. And so Mudge comes on board as the new head of security, and according to him, conducts a thorough review of Twitter, hiring top engineers and pushing for more transparency and accountability, with him remaining in that role until January of this year when he was fired. But then last month, he filed a complaint with the SEC and multiple law enforcement agencies alleging wrongdoing at Twitter. And now that filing has been published, with it accusing the company of having extreme, egregious deficiencies in its spam and hacking defenses dating all the way back to 2011. So let's go through what's been alleged and how explosive all of this actually is. First up, Mudge says that Twitter had extremely lax security practices, giving thousands of employees amounting to roughly half the company's workforce access to some of its critical controls.
There was an analogy of an airplane. So you get on an airplane and every passenger and the attendant crew all have access to the cockpit, to the controls. You know, that's entirely unnecessary. It might be easy, but it's too easy to accidentally or intentionally turn an engine on.
And one of the reasons this worried him so much was that after January 6th, as Twitter executives were debating whether to censor Donald Trump, he feared that employees who sympathized with the insurrectionists might try to tamper with the platform. So he investigates how vulnerable it is. So he discovered no logging of who went into the production environment, basically the place where engineers can make changes to the software, and adding that Twitter also lacked the ability to hold workers accountable for information security lapses because it has little control or visibility into employees' individual work computers. Also citing internal cybersecurity reports estimating that 4 in 10 devices do not meet basic security standards. Then among the other allegations, Mudge says that Twitter has an anonymously high rate of security incidents, approximately 1 per week, serious enough to require disclosure to government agencies. Yet despite this, he claims that the company hasn't been complying with a more than decade-long agreement with the FTC to clean up its security problems. Which, I mean, that alone is especially huge, because if Twitter is found to have violated its legal obligations, it could potentially face billions of dollars in fines. Then, in a bombshell revelation, Mudge claims that right before his firing, the U.S. government provided Twitter with specific evidence that at least one of its employees was working for another government's intelligence service, or to translate, there may be a foreign spy inside Twitter. And this comes just a couple of weeks after a former company manager was convicted of spying for Saudi Arabia. And then finally, we're talking about Mudge's disclosure includes several claims that Twitter lied to its shareholders, to regulators, and to Elon Musk. First, with the shareholders, after Jack Dorsey stepped down last year, Parag Agrawal took over as CEO, allegedly being far less transparent than his predecessor, allegedly discouraging Mudge from giving a full accounting of Twitter's security problems to the board of directors, with executives allegedly ordering Mudge to give an oral report of his findings to the board rather than a detailed written account, telling him to knowingly present cherry-picked and misrepresented data to create a false perception of progress on urgent cybersecurity issues, going behind his back to have a third-party consulting firm's report scrubbed to hide the true extent of the company's problems. Secondly, here, Mudge alleges that Twitter executives put user growth before reducing spam, claiming that they stood to win individual bonuses of as much as $10 million tied to increases in daily users. And third, Mudge alleges that Twitter has lied about
Always
the
make
extent
sure
of
to
bots who
contract
spam
your
on its
glutes.
platform to Elon Musk, and saying there that the company has no incentive to accurately count the number of such accounts, and if
Make sure they're
anything,
not arching
is
too much
incentivized to undercount.
to your
Though
back.
he did not provide hard
Pull it
evidence
down,
that this was
flatten it out.
happening, and Twitter denies it, which is
Go
why
for
I
racing,
talked about Musk and
stretch
Twitter
your abs
going
if you
forward.
can.
October, over the billionaire's
Take
attempt
your
to back
spine
out of
more,
his purposes of the
take away some of
company
that
under
tension.
precisely this issue. So these new allegations
all
could
part of the
significantly hurt
exercise.
Twitter's defense in this case. It's just going to depend on
It's
how
all
much
about
real evidence is
longevity.
provided and what can be demonstrated. So now, unsurprisingly, the lawyers for Musk
Touch wood, how funny it would be if I did
Mudge
something
and Jack
like that.
Dorsey to appear at the trial. There's also this business between Mudge and Twitter over his termination, which he believes was in retaliation for him trying to bring awareness to the security issues. And as far as Twitter's response to all of this, you have a spokesperson claiming that Mudge was fired for ineffective leadership and poor performance, and adding, what we've seen so far is a false narrative about Twitter and our privacy and data security practices that is riddled with inconsistencies and inaccuracies and lacks important context, as well as responding to some of the more specific claims saying that as a range of security measures to prevent employees from accessing sensitive data and that Mudge doesn't understand FTC compliance. Yeah, as of recording, that is where we are with this absolute mess of a story. I mean, that's without covering everything, which I'll link down below to reports. But ultimately, that is where that story and today's show ends. As always, thank you for watching, being subscribed to these daily dives into the news. Also, if you want more news, I got you covered right here or in those links down below. But of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you tomorrow.
You know what I love, ladies and gentlemen? I love it when someone sits down and gives you advice that you didn't ask for, that you don't want, that you don't need, and you know that it is absolutely terrible advice. Unsolicited advice is right up there with unsolicited dick pics. Both are common, both are probably unnecessary, and if you get either off your parents, you probably don't want them. But now, because people between the ages of 4 years old and, I don't know, 30, spend all of their day on TikTok, that's where they're getting their advice from, which is horrifying. Now, given the TikTok feed is usually just chicks' buttholes, and don't get me wrong, keep up the butthole work, ladies, you are empowered. But in between that, sprinkled between the buttholes and the titties, is some fantastic advice that I really wanted to review today for you great people. I wanted to react in front of you guys and just say to you, this is the type of shit advice that people are getting. Because there's a lot of advice on TikTok dedicated to relationships. What you should do as a man, what you should do as a lady, what you can and can't do, all that shit. There is dedicated hashtags to that, and that's what we're looking at today. Just strap yourself in, because this is going to get fucking weird real quick. But before we go any further, ladies and gentlemen, this video is brought to you by a very important sponsor, and they have given me something absolutely glorious. It's this. Have a look at it. This right here declares that I am Lord Isaac Butterfield, and the beautiful sponsor's name is Established Titles. So let me tell you a little bit more about them. Hey, Claire, where are you?
Yes, Butterfield!
Hey, you must refer to me as Lord Butterfield.
Why?
You see, I went to Established Titles and I bought 1 square foot of land in Scotland. And according to the beautiful Scottish customs, I am now a lord.
Can I do it as well?
Of course you can. And now finally you could become a lady. And on top of that, Established Titles plants 1 tree for every single order. So you can become a lord and a lady and save the planet. Each title pack comes at least 1 square foot of
hoping that weight doesn't come out.
a certificate with a unique plot number.
Wow, this sounds like a great gift idea. Especially a last-minute gift. Especially for that uncle you know nothing about, and even for your grandparents or your partner's dad.
And now, because you're a lord or a lady, you can change your name on plane tickets or even Tinder. Lord Butterfield. That's a great Tinder name.
Listen, Butterfield, I've been meaning to tell you, you really need to get off Tinder.
Yeah, fair point. And if you head to Established Titles right now, you could be right next to me in the plot. My little bit of Scotland next to your bit of Scotland. What a beautiful love story it is. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, Established Titles is running a massive sale, and if that wasn't enough, you can also get 10% off with the code BFIELD10. Yeah. Head to establishedtitles.com/BFIELD10 to get your beautiful gifts. Yep, ladies and gentlemen, Lord Isaac Butterfield is going to say this. Back to the video.
So for all my girlies dating men, this is what you're going to do on your date. Because I know dating can be awkward, okay? But I learned this on TikTok and I need to teach it to everyone. Okay, so the bell comes. I'm you, okay? Do you need any help with that? Okay, that... What are they going to say? Yeah, you need help with that on the bill that you wanted to take me out to that I had to get ready for? I don't think so! In a patriarchy created by men where men are paid more than women, even though women typically do a better job. In a world where all wars have been started by men. In a society where 90% of rapes are by men. Don't even get me started on the
I'm
orgasm
either going to
process.
seriously
Your gender
injure
figures
myself
it
through
out.
this.
Maybe we'll talk about it.
That is a lot to unpack. First of all, if you're a man and you end up with this particular lady, she better suck the meanest dick of all time because
Definitely
your
putting a
wife
lot of
makes
trust
those
in my
little
door frame.
Secondly, I imagine that this poor lady has had one bad experience and then written them all off. And that's what everyone does when they hate a particular gender. They write them off. It's a terrible way to live your life. Thirdly, she's just spouting feminism doctrine. All she's doing, like it's a religion, like it's the only way to live.
I'm gonna put a
the
pillow
life.
down here as a
And
safety
like
net.
the orgasm gap, mate. Whose fault's that? We're in there throwing that sausage down there, trying to get it done, and you're whinging about orgasms. Ah! How about you try harder? If I was on a date, and that was the reaction from the lady, do you need help with that? Oh, mate, fine. Do you actually need help with that? Obviously, I wouldn't do anything violent to her, but I might gently pour a glass of wine on her head. Or at the very least, call her a... Because some women like that need to be called out for the they are. And men who do shit like that, call them out for the they are. Lastly, what does the fucking... What is the amount of violent crime that men do have to do with you paying the bill? Go home and get back on your meds, you nutbag.
When walking your date to your seats, never sit across from her from the table.
And well, why can't you sit across from each other and stare into each other's beautiful eyes? That's nice to stare into someone's internal abyss. Why would you want to sit next to someone on a first date? That's just fucking creepy. You barely know the person. Imagine going on a Tinder date. Never met him before. And they sit right up next to you. Hey, yeah, do you want to tickle me pickle?
Don't let each of you just casually walk to your table either. When walking to your table, lead her to where she's gonna sit, and then casually sit next to her.
No, not ding. Sit across from each other, sit next to each other, whatever comes naturally. In these situations, you usually be able to read the other person as to what they want. You might sit across from each other like this, and then halfway through the date, they might usher you over.
I know my form's terrible.
Oh, let's cuddle up. That's beautiful. Don't sit next to them and creep them out, though. Fuck off. The last thing on a date that you want to do is have a plan of everything that's going to happen and how you're going to do it. Having that preconceived idea of how the date's going to go, it's going to fuck it all up for you, okay? Just be yourself, relax, and whatever you do, don't tell the truth. Just lie. Lie! Lie!
Always be a gentleman and pour her drink before pouring your own.
Agreed. But here is a very important thing. Do not, and I repeat, do not put rupees in a drink. Don't do it. I know you're thinking about it. Don't you do it. I don't care what professional sports team you play for or what footy team you play for. Don't you do it.
If there's a napkin on the table, make sure you unravel it and put it on her lap for her.
And if she's ugly, you can put it over her head. Repeat after me, gents, and it's important to remember this one. Are you ready? Repeat after me. Any hole is a goal.
You don't want the conversation to end. Here's a good texting tip. Don't ever say goodnight. Don't ever say, oh, I'll talk to you later. You have to disappear for any period of time. Don't explain it. It's just disappear.
Oh, fuck. I hate tips about how to text people. They are the worst. You gotta wait 45 days. You gotta send them a fucking emoji first. You gotta get into their house in the middle of the night and take a photo of them while they sleep and then send it to them. That's a great way to a girl's heart. Fuck tips about texting someone. If you like someone, reply to them. If you don't, fuck them off. Oh, you gotta spell things correctly so you can get to know their chakras and understand. Fuck off. Just reply to people or don't.
What are you supposed to do in this situation?
I know exactly what you're supposed to do. Right? If the lady falls over and
I'm listening to Isaac Butterfield, comedian.
So you're talking to a new guy and he asks you, so what is
Essentially
it that you
where I
look
get
for
my
in a
news
man?
from.
Like, what kind of qualities do you like in a man?
This isn't
Let
much
me tell
news, but
you
it's
why
criticism.
you
It's
should
funny.
never answer that question up front.
Here is why. Because dating's not about being open and honest with each other. It's about deceiving one another until you've been in a relationship for so long that they can't get out, and then you reveal the truth. This is all shit advice. It's just shit advice. You want good advice?
I gotta keep an eye on Cheddar,
Good advice? Do what I
or he's gonna pee on my curtains.
Alright, find someone that doesn't play games or any of that type of shit. Find someone who you get along with like a house on fire. Claire and I have never had a fight. We've never had an argument. We get along every single day. I work from home. She works from home. We spend all day together. We train at the gym together. We do everything together. And we're best mates. You don't want someone who has to play games with you all the fucking time. Fuck that. And if you don't want to do that, ladies, and he asks you what type of man you want, say you want a Sudanese man with a 12-inch cock. See what he says.
First of all, the only reason a guy's going to ask you that question is so that he can find the fastest way to get you hooked. Because if he knows what you want, he's just going to be that person.
Obviously, for every shit woman that exists in this world, there's just as many shit men. Being a shit person is not tied to gender. And yes, they may become the person that you want them to be, or they think that you just to get in your hands. And that's a risk. Dating is a risk. But what if you're just a genuinely great person and you're so terrified about all this shit because you watch
Maybe a day that this exercise is not going to end well for me.
You don't meet that person. You don't hang out with that person. You don't get to know that person, then you miss out. Point being, don't listen to some fucking idiot who's doing makeup tutorials on how to have the perfect relationship.
I'm going to tell you how you're going to answer that question. You're going to tell him, how about you show me who you are, and then I'll let you know if you're the kind of guy I'm looking for. That way, he'll take you seriously because he knows you're not easily manipulated.
No, he will think you suck as a human. He'll probably still try and fuck you though, because repeat after me, Andy Hole is the goal. But then give you the flick because you are so far up your own ass, it is tough to breathe.
In order to avoid the friend zone, you have to be aware of the things that get you friend zoned and not do those things, like asking her how her day was.
The friend zone, or as I call it, me at high school. We're told as young men that you don't want to be friend zoned. And the worst thing to happen if you are interested in a lady is to be friend zoned. And the best way to not get friend zoned is not to be their friend. Now, I figured out later on in life that the best way to be friend zoned is to be ugly. That's what it comes down to. She's just not interested in it. Right? End of fucking story. But I did work out that, and this actually works, a good way not to end up in the friend zone of ladies is to be a dick, right? To be mean, to be rude. For some reason, some ladies like this. What lady you want to marry?
My arms are dying out on me.
Whole as a guy, right? But I found this out, and I tried this as a younger dude, but it just wasn't me. I can't keep that actor. Bullshit. You don't want to be that. You don't want to be someone that you're not, just to impress someone. Fuck that. And say that if you're not willing to do those things, then you will remain a callous-hand teenager because you can't get a root. So you got to weigh these things up.
This is how to make someone instantly obsessed with you.
Show me your tits, lady. That's fucking easy.
Stop messaging women back right away and use these 5 strategies instead.
Have a look at this. Oh my, Gary Gunn Show. You peaky.
I know there's a lot of good stuff on
wonder-looking
TikTok.
peaky
I'm not
Peter.
on it.
That's what you fucking are, mate.
So I
Good,
cannot
give
be
us
a
a
judge.
tip, you wanker.
Number 1, the 2.
My friends tell me there's a lot of good golden nuggets on there as long as you know what you're looking for.
Likes you, don't reply to her next.
It's just...
No.
It's just too
Do
quick.
not be a wanker. That is my number
Information
one
in
rule.
and out too
Do not be a wanker.
Number 2, ignore questions. By deliberately ignoring her questions, spark some interest.
It was like when my mum first got onto the internet, I had to warn her, like...
Number 3, the 48-hour rule. If she's taken
Anyone can be
ages
anyone
to reply
online.
to your messages,
I guess that's the
then
beauty of
you
the
get
internet, though.
48 hours before
But, you know,
replying to any
after telling my mum the advice not to believe everything,
Take 2 years. Have
2
a
years
child
ago.
in between replies. That
She
will
comes
get
back to me
her
the very
good.
next day after I set up her
Anyway,
Wi-Fi. She's like,
Number
Daniel,
4, the delete and
they
block
found the
rule.
cure to COVID.
If she's wasting your
I
time,
was like, Mum,
take control.
like, if they found the cure for COVID, how come the doctors don't know this yet?
Actually, that one.
And Mum's like, because he hasn't told the doctors about the cure yet. I was like, bless you, Mum, bless you.
Rather than replying on
I gotta
autopilot,
protect her from all the
just
clickbait.
Stop for a second and decide, does this warrant a reply or not?
Do not play games with people. I tell you what, if they want to play games with you, they're not the one for you, mate.
Fellas, take notes because these are some really good ones. Take a conscious effort to sit facing the door or the entryway. Women are attracted to men that are aware of their surroundings.
Fair point. Ladies in the comments, let me know. If you're on a date and the man is not ready for an active shooter to storm the building, will your legs open at all?
Avoid self-deprecating language. It makes you extremely unattractive. I do not want to have to sit there and validate you.
Yes, don't be self-deprecating. Here's some examples. Oh my god, I'm worried my dick's too big. Don't say stuff like that.
Slowly,
oh
wait before my break.
muscles are just so fucking percolating, my fucking buttons keep flying off. Don't say stuff like that. Be yourself, right? Just talk about her.
Ask open-ended questions. Open-ended questions are a question that can be responded a yes or no.
So tell me your thoughts on Roe v. Wade.
Smile. Change the entire vibe of them.
The number one test she must pass before you make her your girlfriend.
Mate, where the fuck is your shirt? I'm not taking advice from a dude without a shirt and with veneers. Not happening, bros. I don't care how recently you went to Turkey for new veneers. I'm not listening to you.
So, you know, if you're one of those guys and you see a cute girl at your gym, maybe your local grocery store, and you walk up to her and you just give her a short, sweet little compliment, you don't even ask for her number, and you just walk away, and you think that's gonna work, you are absolutely right. That shit works 90% of the time.
Hey, I bet your asshole smells like vanilla.
One of the most unattractive behaviors is neediness. I'll give you 3 examples.
I'll give you one example of fucking unattractiveness, mate. Whispering in TikToks. Stop it. Why are you whispering?
Maybe you're out at a nightclub and the night's getting late and you think to yourself, I need to take a girl home. Maybe all of your friends are getting into relationships and you feel the need to get into a relationship. This feeling is a vibration. Your feelings vibrate energy.
Okay, mate, you should just shut the fuck up. You lost me there. You have fucking lost me. Listen up, dickhead. You want to know real relationship advice? You want to know the real stuff. I'm not just talking about sex, I'm talking about finding someone perfect for you. If you want to find someone perfect, you want to find your life partner, then first of all, you need to be worthy of someone. If you can't be attracted to yourself, you can't
I was just about to say, yeah.
Or you can't think about the things and go, that's really cool, then why would anyone else? Work on yourself. Train hard. Go to the gym.
I think my usual advice is whenever someone asks about
Give a shit.
or wanting a relationship,
Have things that are happening in your life that
I say be comfortable by yourself first.
You're not just stuck in the same dead end.
Don't rely on a relationship to make you happy.
Become more intelligent, educate yourself, listen to podcasts. All
A
that
lot more
shit
meaning to that,
is
but
you need
yeah.
to do before you meet someone. Then for yourself. You don't want living a lie. You don't want that. You don't want to. These are these relationships that fall apart. Like a lot of people's parents, they never lived together before they got married. When they live together, they fucking hate each other. Let someone know who you are. If they don't like it, move on. Find someone else. Find someone who is your best friend that you love spending each day with. And then if they're a mad hottie, then you got a fucking deal. And then you get married. All right? That's how you fucking do it. And if you're not with that person who ticks all those boxes right now, that's pretty crazy to say. Fuck them off. Move on. Find someone new. Ladies and gentlemen, be a good motherfucker. Please in the Middle East for the come and see me live. 8 shows left. Guru of Baba. G'day, you good motherfuckers that fuck smart. Yeah, let me tell you. A good motherfucker out there sent me a little link. He sent me a link to a news story, and the news story is telling us that people are mad. They're very bloody angry, and let me tell you why. Because a bar, a pub, a place where people get absolutely absolutely blind drunk to forget their awful lives, has decided to advertise for waitresses or bar staff or people who work behind the bar to come on in and apply for the job, but they have to have one thing. They have to be sporting one particular thing, and that is big, fuck off, double D titties! And now that I have your attention, ladies and gentlemen, I am on tour. Throughout September, I'm going to New Zealand. Here are my dates. Look at them popping up, and then we're back to the beautiful city of Sydney, to the Factory Theatre there. I've already been to Sydney this year, but we were out in the west of Sydney. We're coming back to the city of Sydney, then to Perth. We're doing 2 shows. That's 4. 2 shows in Perth, both 1,000-seaters, and they're almost both sold out. I'm absolutely pumping that. Then we're going, where else we're going? We're going to Wollongong on this date right here, and then we're going to the Sunshine Coast and Toowoomba. I'll see you there, you big cock-smoking bastard. Now, can I just say this? As far as titties are concerned, I don't think you should have to have a certain size titty to get a job anywhere, alright? Maybe in a milk bar, I understand big milkers. But listen, you shouldn't have to have a certain thing or a certain body part just to get a job, alright? Like, I understand that, Hooters, you should have big tits to work at Hooters. Like, if you're a girl and you work at Hooters, shame on you to start with. But if you're a girl and you work at Hooters and you've got small tits, like, just fucking give up. And saying that, you know that Karen's diner when you walk in and people like, hey, fuckwit, why are you fucking here, fuck you, and all that type of shit.
Oh my god, hurry up, stop wasting my fucking time.
Yeah, it says mind your fucking business and shut the fuck up. I could pretty much guarantee that all of the chicks that work there, without a doubt, have big, old, hairy flaps, and the dudes that work there have tiny cocks. Bet Eddie Karen's diner, fuck you to the moon. People are stressed and blowing up, ladies and gentlemen. They're angry, and let me tell you this. If you're angry, if you're cranky, if you're stressed, you need to check out today's sponsor, Crush Organics. Crush Organics is the world's leading supplier of high-grade CBD products. CBD products are great to keep you calm, focused, and in charge. Their collection of oils, which I have used all of, are fantastic, alright? They are the best in the biz. I love the peppermint day oil, the carver-infused night oil, the broad-spectrum muscle recovery oils, the platinum oil, and the brand new diamond oil. I trust these guys so much that my grandparents even use these oils. And as if that wasn't enough, they also have plenty of other products.
I can hear my cat jumping on the beanbag in the other room right now.
The pain cream. When I've been in the gym,
He loves that beanbag.
or sitting on a plane being all cranked up because I'm a giant, I love the pain cream.
It's a donut.
We should give it a try.
I don't blame him. I blame myself for not setting that boundary up. But the problem with him being in the bedroom is, again, I have cat allergies. So some things need to be sacred. Also, he sometimes pisses in there. I think that's the major reason. I'm sorry, shut up.
Very much to Crush Organics for making this video happen. You keep the channel alive, and I appreciate you guys. Now, back to the video. Okay, so the sexist job thing, that's pretty funny, it's interesting. We're going to get to that whole fallout, the spill out of the cities, if you will, in a minute. But Eminem's in trouble as well, and this time for cultural appropriation. Okay, so if you don't know what cultural appropriation is, it's if you're a white guy and you cook Mexican food, a white guy or girl and you wear an Indian headdress, a white guy and you have dreadlocks. My favourite bit about that article was it was written by a white lady. How about you shut the fuck up, lady? Or if you dare to get a photo as a pimp found by black ladies, that's also very bad. Honestly, if you do anything that can be construed in any way as slightly offensive to any culture, and you happen to be white-skinned, that's cultural appropriation, okay? Don't do anything. Stop breathing. It all comes from people seeing white people as evil people. They've taken over other people's cultures, invaded people's lands, which basically every other culture has done. It's not just a white thing, it's more a thing. But anyway, I digress. Sure, white people are. So's everybody else. That's the fucking human tale. So anyway, Eminem is being called out for cultural appropriation for an old music video. One where he talks about fucking dicks and burden on their fucking backs. I don't even know if that's a lyric, but I'm pretty sure it is. The rapper's song with D12 titled My Band was released back in 2004, and finally we're getting something done about it, and featured a section right at the end that's been dubbed
as inappropriate. So what have we done? I'm looking at the lyrics. At one point he refers to women as hot and says suck his cock. That's misogynistic. Is that what they're upset about here? Big ass stomach bitches think I'm cute. That's fatphobic. No. What they're mad about is this. Eminem is seen in a Matador's outfit while members of D12 are dressed like they're in a mariachi band. Let's have a look at it, but not listen to the music so we don't get copyright struck. Right here, he's dancing with a Mexican band and repeatedly
it's an Eminem song. D12,
salsa.
whatever.
That's
But I know it for Eminem.
salsa. And the genius lyrics continue. It goes,
It's a good song.
write this down. My salsa. Whoa, look out for my next single. It's called My Salsa. My salsa. My salsa. My salsa. My salsa makes all the pretty girls want to dance and take off their underpants. Frugal genius. Perhaps you could call him a rap god. Maybe not a rap. One person on social media wrote, how come there's no outrage by the Latino community for Eminem doing this? Huh? Probably because no one gives a fuck, you twat. Another added,
China doesn't
I
really
wonder
listen
why
to me.
these folks aren't demanding an apology from Eminem. A third said, and I imagine they said it in this voice, invent a time machine and travel back and or forth to whichever era and this shit will still not be funny. But here's the best part. All the people complaining are all white people. I hate the idea of cultural appropriation that just because you're a different skin colour means you can't do certain things. That's ridiculous. The idea of stealing someone's culture really pains me when you happen to be saying that you're offended on behalf of other people. No, you can't be offended on behalf of other races, you fucking virtue signalling cock licking ass fucking fuckers. Alright? You're not allowed to. That's cultural appropriation. That's fucking theft. Fuck you to the moon. However, this is great. Hilarious. There were several comments from people claiming to be Hispanic who say they didn't find a problem with Eminem portraying himself as a Latino. Claiming. That's hilarious. Because they think that Eminem didn't do anything wrong. They can't be Mexican or Hispanic. They have to be claiming. There's no proof. If they were real Mexicans, they'd be fucking angry. I just want to end this part of the video by saying if you are a virtue-seeking white, I hate you more than anything else in the world. You know what though? There is one thing that I hate more. Breasts that aren't double D's. This story comes out of New Zealand. I'm coming there soon. Come and see me. A Hokoita bar and cafe job advertisement has been labelled disgusting after it sought out applicants with double D breasts. Now if you don't know much about breasts, this is like the breast size chart. Okay, so there's the A cup, which is also known as the shit cup. The B cup, the boring cup. The C cup is the come on, get bigger tits cup. The D cup was means damn bitch, those are some good old titties, but not quite enough cup. And then the double D, which is like.
Cheers, Aim. Thank you very much. Thanks for the claim. Making me work.
Bar and cafe. Stumpers. Show us your stumpers. Blasted their part-time bar staff advertisement in the window that read, apply within, must have double D breasts, a good smile and a good attitude. But men can also apply. And let's remember, men can
Much appreciated. How are you going today?
With double D breasts.
Chad is here as well.
Okay?
Keeping me in line.
Recently angry at me about me being transphobic. Science
And getting in my way.
Good quote. So you're welcome. This article went further than New Zealand. It was actually in the New York Post. From the New York Post, bar blasted the sexist job ad seeking servers with double D, big old titties. In an era of pandemics and financial instability, is it so hard to us that when we order a drink at a bar, we get a big set of milkers, some quality big bad skin bags, some donkers? I don't want to turn up in this fucking B cups. Go back to Cuba, you lazy bitch. The advertisement was printed out and placed in a window of Stumpers Bar, which is still the worst name. In Hokoika, before it was spotted by a passerby who posted the photo to Twitter. Okay, so one dude posted it on Twitter, and then it's on the fucking post. That's real outrage. That's beautiful. You might be thinking, come on, Isaac, it got all the way to the New York Post. It must have been super viral. Let's have a look. Wow, that's not a lot of likes. All retweets. Great reporting, mate. Better put it in the fucking New York Post. Well done, Kevin Rickian 82. You've saved the world, big dick.
How's work been at school as well, by the way?
You're a brave man who hates big tits. There are a few interesting retweets. One from Erin, abortion is healthcare, Burnell. What a nickname. I wish you were a boxer. Overeducated
I
woman.
feel one day
Protect trans youth.
someone's just going to save all these points and just absolutely destroy me. I'm relying on the fact that I'm not well known. Who knows, it might be like that forever. Regardless, some person, like Sleepy, who made me do 10 burpees one time, good on you for saving that many points and lurking all the time. But I feel there's going to be a day where someone just destroys me.
A larger person or
Give me a good proper workout.
double D or person of colour who was a perfect fit.
Take that as you will.
Whatever. Terrible accent. Other reason would still be discriminated against, or whoever gets hired will likely suffer harassment on the job. Bro, she wasn't alone though. Other Twitter users were in agreement, with one bluntly stating, "I'd rather gouge my own eyes out with a rusty spoon than work anywhere that has an ad like that. Sounds like someone's got little bitty titties." Another critic chimed in with not only a legal but clear indication that you will be harassed daily. I cannot believe they are quoting people in the... What world do we decide that it's
Just
okay
annoys
to
me.
quote comments from the fucking
Isn't that what all
internet?
cats do, really?
Imagine quoting comments on this video right here. From
Just
the
know that
fucking
they'll be
idiots.
loved.
Not all of you.
They just
idiots.
know.
Some of you I like, particularly people on Patreon.
They've really
There's a lot
figured
of
it out.
fucking idiots, particularly if you comment on this video.
I have a
and
funny
you go first, right?
view
Now
where I
you're
believe
a huge
sloths
fucking idiot. Jesus,
are the
they
smartest
are.
creatures in the
Don't
world.
fucking comment.
Because
Comment
they've
something
somehow
good, go,
figured out how to
big
be
milkers.
so
In fact,
lazy
if you do love big milkers,
that they're being
please
taken
tell
care
me
of.
what the
I remember I was at a zoo
But
once,
there was an article about this video
looking at the
right
sloths.
here. One commented first. Another commented
And the zookeeper there
One user commented that he was
puts a
the
carrot
son of
in the
former
sloth's
South
hand.
African banker
Not in
and
front of it
needed to
first.
unload 100,000
Sloth does nothing.
bitcoins into
Puts it in the
someone's
sloth's
account
hand.
who just
The
needed
sloth
their
does
account
nothing.
number. Imagine
The zookeeper had to put that
fucking
carrot
quoting
in
people
that sloth's
comment
mouth,
sections, you
then it
dickheads.
started eating.
According to New Zealand
I'm thinking to
publication,
myself, that
such
sloth has figured it out.
the in breach of the Human Rights Commission's Human Rights Act of 1993. Great year.
You're one step away from it.
Employers can't prefer a specific gender position unless the employer can prove that gender is a genuine occupational qualification. Sure, it may not be a genuine occupational qualification, but it certainly does help the job. If you're a dude at a bar and there's some fucking dude there, like imagine me, come up and serve you. Hey mate, what do you want to drink? Or female me turns up with big old milkers going, "Hey baby, can I fix you a drink with your big fat cock?" Give me a tip. And I think, fuck it, some people should only be able
I put so much
work
trust
at
in
a
this door
particular
frame.
job if they look a certain way. I think that at fucking Big W, big department store here in Australia, I think only black dudes with big fat 12-inch cocks.
I've been training on this door frame for the last 4 years now, so I think I could trust it now.
Because there's a lot of
It's
young
more about its
white
longevity, I
monkeys
guess.
there who would love a big flogging for some big fella. But I do worry.
Really believing in the constructors and the engineer who made this.
That's a bit of a worry. That some people.
The weight limit's 100 kilos. I'm not 100.
Take priests.
Although I'm trying to get there.
If they wanted to
Probably won't happen.
have a position filled.
But
in
wear and
now,
tear exists.
Maybe they would only hire 10-year-old kids. The controversial job ad even garnered some attention from a local politician who told Stuff that it did not reflect the values of the area. Reflect the values of the area. You're an area. You don't have values. And what are your values? You don't like Big North? I recently approached a particular venue in a particular area of Australia about doing one of my ghost videos there. They came back to me, and the venue rhymes with Omego House, right? Whatever. Work it out, well done. And they came back to me and said, no, Omego House could not have Mr. Butterfield here because Omego House's values do not align with Mr. Butterfield. You're a fucking old house, you don't have values, you... Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the video. Be a good motherfucker. If you got double D boob, you're welcome. Big 12-inch cock, you're welcome. Otherwise, I don't want you here. And that means that I've got to go. See you, bye. Oh, come and see me live. I'm all like, you saw the dates before. Come and see me, for fuck's sake. Toodly wobble, bye-bye. Doo-doo.
I go? Oh no. It's not even. Give me something, YouTube algorithm. I've only got one set to go. Damn it. Just give me 10 minutes. How weak am I? Looking for a small short video just to finish my last set. I could just play the camp one. There we go.
Today. Who all cheated on the diet? So, do me and E-Rob get like appreciation awards or something? Like, we get an appreciation thread for not really cheating on the diet? No, I can't. Bro, no way I'll win. You don't think you're gonna win? No. Why? Look at me. I'm not. I think
From the match criteria, you might win.
I think Macari's gonna win because no one wants to vote for me because I suck. I'll be real. I think me, E-Rob, and S-Fan. Yeah, I've skewed a little bit from the diet. Not that much though. I've had 2 times where I know I messed up. One was I was in an OTK meeting for 4 hours. I was starving, and Nick had an extra kava sandwich, but I didn't eat the bread. And then one other time was I had a roast beef sandwich, but I didn't have any of the bread. It was literally just roast beef.
My mom was in town last week, and I had 120 grams of spaghetti.
You had 120 grams.
It was like
not a
a little
chance you
tiny-
weighed.
Did you
Yes,
weigh?
I weighed. I was like in a little tiny.
Yeah, I know you can have it. If you weighed your mother's
I just
spaghetti,
wanted the flavor.
yes. The fact that you weighed it so you can then represent that honestly to me, yes, I believe them.
I think that there's a literal clip of Macari and Texas eating what were they eating? Panda Express.
They had Panda Express too?
Yes. They had like and that's and it's Subway yesterday. Panda Express the other day. Yes. In one day. Chat, yeah, you're calling me snitch, Kif, but guess what? It's content, so you know I'm a snitch. So Nick, he had like a red eye meal with like tons of shit. Canute called him and is like, what did Canute say? Canute on stream said, if he said, yeah, if they've given up, I've given up.
Nick needs cardio. You know what? They give up. I give up.
Listen, here's what I want. I want Macari, Tectone, maybe not Macari so he doesn't win this tournament. Tectone, Nick, and Sear should be punished. I'm not trying to be a drama Andy here, but they are assholes. They should be punished. It's falling apart. All right, I'll be real with you. Day 26, 25, it started feeling it's falling apart. It's bad. Yeah. We should be strong in the end.
No, it's not all of us.
No, we're not blaming you two guys. You're not in this. Here, nah, it's fine. What's up? He was eating ribs today, so it's falling a little bit apart.
And you know what? I feel great. I'm so excited to take on today.
Very excited for a wonderful day here. Have a little bit of extra food in me, I suppose you could say, so things are pretty good.
I said eat it if you want. If you don't do it.
I trusted you.
What do you mean you trusted me? I didn't betray you.
I got in the car and I didn't expect you to drive to Subway and do that.
You didn't have to eat it, bro.
Compromising situation.
No, I said Canute said we need to eat, so I got you a Subway sandwich. And then I told you the calories. And I said eat if you want. I said eat half if you want or not.
Take care, Aim. Have a great day as well.
I wanted to go back and get my meal prep, but he wouldn't let me.
Yeah, and then we would have been an hour and a half later than we already
But guess
were.
what? We wouldn't have cheated the diet.
I didn't cheat shit, bro.
Oh no. Listen, we should be happy.
Oh,
Today
wow,
is
okay, no, I've got nothing left in that one.
Oh wait, what?
Dude, I'm happy I got in there. I wake up, I feel incredible.
I didn't want to do it, but he brought me into a swimming pool and said some mean things, and he's still a good guy.
All right, chat, semifinals today, second last day. All right, go ahead, you guys can pick your groups.
Banana, I didn't listen. It's like a meal plan.
It's not a high calorie day. It's not a high calorie day.
Just as bad as me.
I'll take it.
Oh, what about?
Oh my god! What is happening there? I'm scared! What's going on?
Content. I'm starting shit, that's what's happening.
You got a glutton, huh?
Yo,
Can you win this guy?
Okay, so rock, paper, scissors for first pick. I did first pick, it's captured, and I decided. You go. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I took him before you. I decided. It's okay.
Can we get to the damn workout?
Yeah, we're tweaked. Let's go. Let's go. Chat, today is a nothing but grind.
We have the platform because we're going to lift way more weights than all of you. As soon as that. one that lifted 3 plates in this entire group. 3 plates? Huh? What 3 plates? On each side. But they couldn't do it. That's fucking baby weights. They couldn't do it. 3 plates. I don't know if we can do this. He's the only one who made it move. I'm the only one that made it move, Canute. Yeah, but we are going to lift more as a... We'll see. We'll see. That's enough thing. We'll see.
There's so much testosterone, everyone's so fucking pissed.
Right.
You, man? Huh? What did you do? What did you do, man? You turned everyone against each other.
I got my team.
Hold on. Can I wait? Oh, yeah. I'm done.
There you go, baby. There it is.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Don't tell Coach.
One more.
Look, Canute's group's so bad, he's over here.
Yeah, you think anyone in your group can lift that? I know that my group can lift it. Yeah, besides you, nerd, obviously.
Look at him. Just crawling around there. Where'd you go? Some eyes on the back of my head. There we go. Oh, something fell. I gotta figure out what that is later. Well, take care everyone. That's another workout done. So that was pull-ups, trap bar for lower back, rings, rows. How do I forget that exercise? Rows with rings and the ab wheel. Tune in again on Friday for my next workout. I'm sort of implementing the exercise bike. That, or I'm just lazy, but I think it's good. I guess it depends on what intensity I do it in. But yeah. I'm gonna have lunch now, take a shower, and just chill. Yeah. Thanks for the follows, thanks for joining, thanks for the extra work. Aim, Sleepy, thanks for lurking. Senzu, thanks for following. And anyone else who's just lurking around or just chilling around. Ask me any questions at any time. Always love to answer questions. It helps me as a therapist to increase my knowledge and keeps me, I guess, I don't know, active. Yeah, alright. Till next time.